everyone, Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to our channel.
If you are new to this channel, go ahead and smash the like button and don't forget to turn on the notification bell too.
If you are a friend of all the food we love, we thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for supporting our humble little channel. By the way guys, we are not your regular mukbangers. Other than food, we also love horror stories. So we will chat about ghost stories or experiences while we munch on our favorite foods.
This week, we are trying Samyang curry noodles! Yay! But I think it's going to be spicy? No?
I think it is a little spicy. I mean, like, you know, Samyang. We have never tried this flavor before. This is the first time that we are trying this flavor. And as you know, Samyang is well known for their very spicy flavors, very strong spicy flavors. So I don't know how it will
Taste?
go with our stomach. We will only know tomorrow, guys. So this is an experiment.
Hopefully it turns out fine, okay?
Yeah, so inshallah. Alright, so we also have, other than the Samyang noodle, the Samyang curry flavored noodles, we also have sausages, chicken sausages over here, and then 2 sunny side ups. I think the yolk has already deflated. And then we also have bakso here. Bakso is in Indonesian. Bakso is an Indonesian word, so the English word is meatballs. Yeah. So, and when I cook the Samyang noodles, I also incorporated some veggies. We have broccolis and cauliflowers
mixed
and
vegetables.
yes, and carrots. So hopefully it's much more healthier. Yeah. So let's dig in. Jumpa makan semua. Okay. So when I cook this, I try not to make it so dry. So I left a little bit of water in the pot before I put in the, what's it called?
In the pan?
The spice.
Oh, the spices.
I don't know why I go to this portion when I can go over this portion.
Maybe you're aftering the hot dog, I think. The sausages.
I don't know, I take one of your bakso.
So.
I'm gonna take one of the...
Yeah, why not? Because at least we can.
Ooh. Oh, what a sad life. Mine.
How come the balls one you cut?
I cut some, yeah.
Okay.
To make it look like variety. Yeah, but it's a little bit dried up. I mean, I think the gravy is now at the bottom. Whee! Alright guys, I'm gonna try it. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Do you like it?
When the first enter my mouth, it reminds me of the instant noodle curry.
The Maggi one?
Yeah, the Maggi. But the Maggi one is not as spicy as this. This is super spicy, guys. I mean, to me lah, it's super spicy.
It has very strong curry flavors, I have to say. Super strong that when I put it near to my nose, I can already smell it. Smell the curry flavors. But to date, I still love the jajang ramyeon. The curry, to me, this one, the curry flavor is very intense.
if you don't prefer this kind of spiciness, maybe you can make those the one that we normally eat, the Maggi curry. It's about that, but the spiciness, this is more spicy than that.
Yeah. Yeah, the spice level is quite intense as well. I wanted to say maybe the yolk from the egg can soothe the spiciness. Guys, there's no more yolk. the yellow has, I think, has dripped all the way down.
Oh yeah, mine too. And it drips on the carrot. I'm going to save it. Okay, we tried before how to cook differently. Remember, I did that from the IG. Right?
But that one is not Samyang.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what I mean is that if you want to cook differently, you can just adjust by your own liking lah. You don't have to make it soup or whatsoever. You can just make it on your own liking. So if you want to make it dry like this, so what you need to do is just drain out the water and then pour in the oh, this is so spicy. The packet. I mean the what do you call it?
Soup base.
The soup base. Just pour it onto the noodles, and then just mix it together. But I reckon that if you want to do that, try not to put the whole entire soup base because it's going to be salty.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be soup actually, right?
Yeah. For you guys who doesn't know, on our IG story, I mean, I will link down our IG handle here. In our IG story, we actually modified Shin ramen noodles. The way we cook it is not the typical way of how one would cook Shin ramen noodles, which is just boiling water and then the noodles and then the soup base and then that's it. So we actually took out the noodles and then we put in milk. So we boil some milk and then we put in the soup base as well as the noodles, and we also improvise a little bit. We put in a lot of cheese. Yeah. So our mistake in that video was we put in the whole packet of the soup base. So that's the reason why together with the cheese and the milk, it tastes a little bit salty at the end of it. But you guys can try lessen the soup base if you guys wanna. You know, you guys can check out our IG story. It's not our IG story. It's an IGTV post.
But it's kind of cool that actually a simple food and it's an instant food, but you can actually diverse it out to become like a different kind of it's kind of cool for me. I find it's cool.
I want to say that it all depends on your imagination.
Yeah, true.
But sorry to say, we actually saw someone else do it and then we imitate. We are a bunch of imitators, so that recipe is not ours. I can feel it in the pit of my stomach.
But seriously, I can take this level, the spiciness level, rather than the 2 times Samyang. Remember that we bought? That was crazy.
That was not my fault. Alright.
Technically, it's not my fault too. Okay, I thought it's just the same.
Technically, it is his fault.
No.
For not checking. Okay, so this week we have Korean ghost stories to tell. As per our previous videos, we tend to match our food with the theme of the stories that we're gonna tell. So you may be thinking that Korean ghost stories, where got scary one, right?
Yeah.
Real zombies are more scarier, right? I mean, Train to Busan. Hi Gong Yu.
Hashtag? No?
So this story is told by a Korean friend of the writer. Okay. Well, have you ever heard of GWISHIN? Have you ever heard of this
No.
word GWISHIN about?
No.
So GWISHIN are a type of spirit or ghost in the Korean folklore or their culture.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, they are people who had died, and these are not monsters like Tokebi. Tokebi are like monsters, but these are really people who has died, and these are their spirits that turn into ghosts. Okay. The Koreans believe that these spirits may be found in many places, but most commonly in abandoned buildings, houses, cemeteries, forests, and schools. When a person dies without completing something that they must do, for example, revenge or staying a little longer with their loved ones, their spirit remains on earth to complete the task before going on to the underworld.
Oh, okay.
Like probably in a state of limbo, maybe. Yeah. However, I'll put my chopstick aside first, okay? However, very strong GWISHIN do not go to the underground world.
Well, can be chosen.
Yeah, if they want to remain on Earth. So if they choose to remain on Earth, they can. So they don't immediately go down to, because maybe the desire of wanting to get back to the person that owes them something maybe, or to just stay on a little bit longer to pacify the living, perhaps. But over time, these spirits will gain strength.
But where they gain strength from? Is it?
I don't know, probably worldly energies. I'm not sure. Okay, so GWISHINs are always represented as a girl or woman in all white hanbok, long black hair, and really pale faces. Some has even encountered faceless GWISHINs. Some claims that these GWISHINs are legless and float in the mid-air. A fan of Asian ghost stories, so the writer actually asked his friend if he knew any good ones. So his friend told him a story that he encountered in the first floor apartment that his family lived in Korea right before they moved to America. One night, while he was studying in his room, he felt very tired and couldn't continue to study. So he decided to turn in for the night. In his room, he had almost everything for a teenage boy: a computer, TV, VCR. I think this is really back when. So he has everything. Okay. Nowadays, I don't even think anybody would own a VCR anymore.
Not even a VCD or DVD nowadays.
Yeah.
People will go for just online. Excuse me.
So let me explain the setup of his room first, because then this is very important to the story. Okay, so the TV and the VCR stand was at the end of the bed, and how do I say it? It's at the end of his bed with some space in between for people to walk. Just imagine my room. So the bed, so he lie down on the bed, and then there's some space for people to walk, and then the TV and VCR. So now everyone is on the same page. Everyone understand? Okay. So back to the story. As I've mentioned previously, the writer's friend was so tired that he thought he'll fall asleep immediately. He crashed. He thought that the moment he put his head on the pillow, he would immediately crash. But he became very restless and cannot go to sleep.
Oh.
He experienced lightheadedness and felt a little sick. Thinking that he might have caught flu or a bad cold, he turned off all the lights and the TV and tried to sleep. But still he cannot fall asleep no matter how much he tried. He started feeling cold and scared for some reason. Then, from a distance, he heard a faint cry that sounded like it belonged to a girl. Upon hearing the endless cry, he got scared. He didn't want to move and his eyes were wide open. The crying continued for about 3 to 5 minutes. That's long, yeah? Too scared to move or utter anything, he just listened to the cries when suddenly he said the crying stopped. But a moment later, she let out a loud shrieking scream. So it was like
God.
scared yet?
my chopsticks like
No lah, the colour of the egg is blending with your t-shirt lah. Now, if the scream came from an ordinary human being, everyone else in the house would have woken up from the sound, right? But no one did. No one. It's just him. He is the only one who heard it. Yeah. As he lay there frozen by fear, he could only look straight forward with his eyes wide open. He was afraid to even blink. Yeah. So he is, I think he's terrified. He's in a very terrified state and he is scared to even blink because then when he opened up his eyes, he is scared that he might see something else. Right? While lying in the terrified state, all he could see was the time 12, midnight. 12:00 on his VCR. So he lie down and because like I explained earlier on, the TV and VCR is just right in front of him, right? So he can see 12:00. He did not set his timer, so that's the reason why he can only see 12:00. I mean whoever live in the VCR times would know that if you don't set the timing on your VCR, it's a default. It's set default at 12 midnight, right? So there he was lying down, looking at his VCR, the number 12 at the number 12, and he doesn't want to close his eyes because he was terrified, right? And then suddenly, after he heard the scream, right? The number 12. Because it's pitch black in his room. He tried to switch off all of his lights because he wanted to go to sleep immediately, right? So he saw the number 12 and then suddenly the number 12 disappeared.
What?
It's all black.
Oh my.
Yeah. And then he waited. He didn't blink, okay? He didn't close his eyes, he didn't blink. He did not pass out. It's just that he can only see the number 12:00, and then suddenly everything went black. And then he waited. He didn't shut his eyes. He waited for probably 5 minutes, but to him he said it's about an hour. But it's definitely 5 minutes. And then the number 12 appeared again.
Oh. Could it be like some sort of electrical fault? What do you call it?
No.
No?
The GWISHIN was standing in front of him, covering that number 12.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
The only thing that registered in his mind was either the VCR was broken, right, like you said, or a dark figure, something was standing in front of it, which is the GWISHIN. So he closed his eyes and then he did a little bit of prayers and then he opened his eyes again. The number 12 starts to blink again. So when VCR, the number 12 blink, 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 blink like that, right? So he stayed all night, too scared to sleep. When the sun came up, he found no evidence of anything being in his room or that the VCR connection had malfunctioned. After only living in the apartment for about a month, his family decided to move to America. Not until they had moved out, then his mom told him that she hated that apartment and got bad feelings while they were staying there. He then proceeded to tell his mom what happened that night. She didn't act too shocked from it and proceeded to tell him that the only reason they got that apartment was because of the price. His parents knew that they were coming to America months prior and just needed a cheap place to stay for about a month. The apartment was rented out really cheap because a girl that had lived in the apartment directly above them had committed suicide by jumping down. And when she jumped down, she landed right beside his room. Yeah.
No wonder. Okay.
How do you find the story, Abang?
Scary. The scary part is when he can see the number 12,
Yeah.
right?
It's
No.
either if me, I'll be thinking, have I gone blind? Like, did I fall asleep or did I go blind?
So if to be me, I was thinking that maybe it's the electrical fault. Because it's just totally pitch black, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, then of course after the prayer, it went back. The number 12 from the VCR came back. So I think it's because of maybe the prayers helped, right?
Could be.
Okay, so my story happened in the year 2001,
Oh, that's quite a while back.
like almost 20 years ago, where the writer and the colleagues were given a yearly incentive trip. So I'm guessing she might be working for
Travel,
a travel
travel,
company or something like that. Okay,
It could be. I mean, like, I have a few friends. I'm no longer friends with them, but back then, when they work for some travel industry,
oh, okay.
yeah, like tourism industry, they get this kind of perks from the company.
I see. So for that particular year, the country of choice was Seoul in Korea. Okay, it was 5 days, 4 nights trip, which is quite long. Is the I mean the for the room you're staying in is not a good one lah. Of course, you will feel like it's unbearable. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Can you be like,
And this is the issue with like company perks from companies.
Yeah,
Usually they won't give you like really good hotels lah
yeah,
for
that's
some
why.
reason.
So the writer shared a room with the company's receptionist. Okay, that lucky for her. They checked into the small hotel, or one I would call it an inn or a motel. I think American use it like a motel, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time. So as mentioned, once they arrived, they checked out themselves went directly to their room. So the lifts were small and could barely take more than 5 people. So I guess it could be like in Singapore, back in the 80s, 70s kind of lifts.
I've stayed in these kind of hotels in Vietnam.
Really? Oh my gosh, okay. I thought it doesn't exist anymore because it's like way back in the 80s and 70s. So as soon as they got into their room, there was a weird feeling. Yeah, something which they couldn't describe. It's just like, I think the vibe of the room. So because I think the furniture is also dark colored and so when this even if they switch on the lights, it's like dimly lit. Preferably for me, I don't like this kind of room.
Yeah, I remembered one room that we stayed in Indonesia that is like
That's
this.
right. That's what I was about to say. So anyway, certainly it's not a good feeling like we had back in Indonesia. So anyway, the rest of the staff members who stayed in other rooms decided to freshen up before meeting for dinner. The writer's roommate, who is also the company's receptionist, went to shower first. Okay, of course, I think one of them will go first lah, right? And before the writer knew it, she heard the receptionist fell down in the bathroom.
toilet?
Yeah. So she quickly over to the toilet door and asked the receptionist whether if she's okay, and she replied, yeah, she's fine. But after that, she murmured something else which can't be heard by the writer.
It's like prayer or something?
I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So when she got out of the bathroom, her arms and knees were bruised. So I think she really had a bad fall. So thank goodness she didn't hit her head in the shower.
Oh, yeah.
That's the most important thing, guys.
Yeah.
So right after the writer quickly took her turn to shower, thank God nothing happened to her. Yeah. So on the way to the restaurant, the writer asked her roommate what happened that caused her to fall, because she could been asking, maybe she could be asking, keep asking in her mind, right? What happened? So she asked her. So she asked if the toilet is slippery. Then because she didn't experience that when she showered, right?
So that means she went into the toilet. She didn't think that it's too slippery. So what causes this person to fall down?
Yeah. So the receptionist said right before she showered. So she said to the toilet, "Toilet, why are you so dirty?" And the next thing, like she's talking to the toilet. So, and the next thing she knew, she fell.
See, when you travel, your mouth should be careful.
Yeah. In fact, I think not just travel, like anywhere, anywhere that is not your home, not your own house. So just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Right. So after dinner, they came back to the room and had to take out the Korean bed sheet from the cupboard. So they opened the cupboards and with a lot of fear, maybe they scared or something, like might just pop up as they, like, so they know that anything to expect lah. So they were scared something else might just jump out from the cupboard. So throughout the entire night, they didn't sleep. They switched on all the lights and we tried and they tried to keep each other awake by chatting. Remember this also what we had in the Indonesia last time. Okay, like back then in the Indonesian that we went over in the hotel, it was badly lit and we have to switch on the lights the whole night.
And that's also, I think it's the same hotel that we're talking about. That particular hotel. Throughout the whole entire night, I feel like there's someone behind the curtain watching us sleeping. Yeah. I can't remember where it was though. Where were we?
This is Jakarta.
Jakarta, was it?
And
when was the last time that we went to Indonesia? I mean, other than the recent one that I went to Bali, that doesn't count because off.
Yeah. So I think that was like
probably about 15, at least 15 years ago. The last time that we went to Indonesia.
No, I think it's more than that.
20 years ago?
20 years ago. Because back in 2003 we went to Australia. That's 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was way back. So it was like 1996.
Yeah, I think 2003 onwards, our family start to not go Indonesia
and we go to Australia.
To Australia a lot because
so
our other family is there.
Yeah.
So it has been super long that we haven't been to Indonesia. I think after this whole COVID thing is out, I think the first place that I want to go is back to Indonesia and see how the infrastructure there.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more modernized now.
Of course, definitely.
And I think the place is so much better based on the YouTube channels that we have watched.
Yeah, in fact.
Hi Sunny Dahi.
So, but in fact, and also I remembered one of my friends that live in Indonesia. She told me that now even the airport is pretty nice and sophisticated now. Yeah.
Oh, one more thing that I want to say is if you are traveling, I mean, like what my brother has emphasized earlier on, whenever you're out, whenever you're at places that is not your own home, if you're traveling per se, watch what you say. Right? So, for example, in the story that you just told, she actually said something. I think the toilet got offended lah. Yeah.
Okay, guys, the toilet was still a spirit, guys.
Yes.
The toilet is alive. It's alive.
No, I think is there are spirits lah in the hotel. I mean, look from the sound of it. From the sound of the story. I mean, like whatever this writer is saying, it seems like the hotel is not as clean. So this is the first story that I've heard that a ghost would go all out to hurt someone. Right?
I believe the second story, I mean my story is more to like mysteries. It's not really, it's not that you can relate to a ghost because it's not mentioned that she's being pushed or she saw something that may triggered her to feel scared and then fall down. It's not something like that. So something more to a mystery.
Yeah. So but psychologically or scientifically, it could be psychological. It could be like she mentioned something like that, and then she lost her balance, and then she fell, and you know, she sort of associated it with whatever she just said. So yeah, it could go both ways. You never know.
That's all the stories we have for you today.
So if you like our content so far, remember to click on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you get all the latest updates whenever we post a new video.
Yeah. So leave your thoughts about stories we have told today on the comment section below. And don't forget to like this video.
And one more thing, guys, don't forget to share the video with whomever you know. We'll see you again next week.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye.